Hello, friends. How are you doing? Happy Sunday. Um, so I forgot to go live yesterday, just because, just because I had a late start and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Insert excuse. Okay. Um. So this was a really busy weekend. For my city. A lot of stuff was going down. Final Four concert. Oh, Duke lost. That's all I know. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend like I know who was playing or whatever. Playing, is that what they say? Is that how they call it? Playing. Who was against who? I don't know. I just know Duke won. Okay. Bonnie Lee from TikTok is here. That's pretty cool. I was like, what's she gonna be doing here in San Antonio? That is Final Four. Excuse me. I do miss the hotel industry. This Whenever exciting things happen, because I worked it for many years. I worked every position. I can run a hotel from morning to night, all different positions. I've worked every position at one point in my life. And I love when it's busy and there's like a long line of people. And like I used to check in two people at a time. Not only that, it was like the best customer service ever because it was like face to face. And so I do miss that when it's like busy. Like I miss the rush, the phone calls ringing off the phone, and people needing stuff. And I used to man the front desk at night by myself. Oh my gosh, I miss that. And I remember when it was about 9:30, 10, I'd start cleaning up again, like making sure everything was straight for the next shift. Sweeping, mopping if needed, locking all the like. I miss that. Like my last hour was like was closing up shift and dropping monies. Like I miss that, like the hustle and the bustle of that. I do miss that, and every once in a while, even though we're like a small little hotel, we did get like a celebrity like here or there, just if they just needed like a place to stay for the night. They weren't gonna be there for long or for a few hours to sleep. Yeah, we did get a few people. Because we're by SeaWorld, so excuse me. But yeah, I really do miss it so much. I hope to one day, if I were ever, ever, ever to like win the lotto, um, I would want to open up a hotel with my lotto winnings. Like, that would be pretty cool. And obviously, I would work there too. Um, the only thing is nowadays it's kind of hard to like the times are different. Times have changed. Like it's so hard to find good help anywhere. I know before I left, we were having issues filling the staff because people want to come in and they want to come in with a list of demands. Okay. They want to be like, I can't work weekends, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, or they won't show up on time, or, whatever, all kinds of excuses. When people want a job, they're like, we're, promising you the moon and the stars. And then once they start, it's like, what happened to that person that was desperate for a job? Gone out the window. That's the only thing that worries me. It's a different time. And, uh, it's just different times. People don't really want to work that would be the hard part, I think. So I would definitely off the bat would have to offer a higher hourly rate, for people, even including housekeeping. I did housekeeping for many years housekeeping. Okay. And that is a thankless job. Okay, not thankless completely. Some people are, compassionate towards housekeepers, and most of the people, and I'm sorry, going to call my people out. most of the people from my experience that leave tips for the housekeeping and leave their stuff clean, like put all the trash on one side, all the blankets and the sheets on one pile for us, is white people. Okay. And they'd be the least messiest, you know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This was when I was a housekeeper. This is like over 20 years ago. Okay, that's how it was. Things might have changed. Okay, but back, I mean, they always leave tips. Always leave tips. They always leave like stuff for you, and they're always thankful. And I remember my very, very, very first job. Because I was really young. I had to, I moved out very young, so I needed a job to pay the rent. So the very first job I got was a housekeeping job. And it was at a Best Western right down the street from where I grew up. And um, the first people, I had never ever in my life experienced like, hey, hi, how long has your family been here? Like I never experienced that ever in my life. Okay, I've always been around a lot of Mexicans. A lot of people who like related to me, went to school with. So no one's ever asked me in my whole life, how long has your family been here? That was the first time anybody asked me that, and I'm like, we've always been here. Like, what you talking about? That was the first time because people from they were coming from up north because we have we're by Air Force Base, so every week they would, family would come in to see the graduation from basic training, right? So we had people coming from different states up north somewhere where they thought we were on horse and cattle down here in Texas. Like they literally thought we had no roads. Like down here, people up there, like way, way, way up north of the USA, thought that we didn't have, like, we were just like little Mexico down here, and that none of us spoke English. This one lady, she is so sweet. She was so sweet. Her whole family was here, and remember, I was very young. I was a little girl, I was so little. Um, she would be like, she was trying to talk to me in Spanish, thinking I didn't speak English. And I didn't have the heart to tell her, like, I speak English, girl. Girl, girl, I speak English. So I responded to her in Espanol, because I didn't want her to feel weird. She goes, está muy caliente. ¿Quieres un agua? And I was like, sí, gracias. Muchas gracias, señor. And she was like, oh, muchas, muchas gracias. Trabajo muy duro. Like, she was so sweet, and I didn't have the heart to like be like I speak English. I wanted her to feel stupid. But yeah, she gave me water, and she gave me some honey, like right there. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Yeah, so she was there for about a week. She was pretty cool. She was a really nice lady. She tipped all the housekeepers. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was the first time I had ever. It was a culture shock because I had never been around. I've only been around my kind. So it was a little bit different, okay. But I remember cleaning them rooms, okay, and that was back in the day. And I know I was a minor, but I used to drink, and I used to drink on the weekends, right? And on the weekends, like the rooms were the worst. And I remember going to work like fucking hungover and like fucking cleaning and shit. Oh my god, it was torture. It was torture, yeah. And but the pay that I got back then was like 6.50 an hour, if even that, because that's what minimum wage was back then. Six something an hour, 6.25, or I don't know. It was very low, very very low. And I remember like barely having enough for the rent. Like that's how crazy it was. And then when in the winter it gets very slow, um, and we'd have like all these days off, and I'd be like, "Fuck, how am I gonna pay the rent?" Like I remember those stresses as a young, and I didn't have no kids. It was just me, okay, me supporting myself, okay. Um, so it was stressful at that time. Like, how am I supposed to do it? And then people would be like, "Oh, she's young, she ain't got no kids." We have families. Let us get the hours. People would be like that with me, and I'd be like, I don't live with my parents. I don't live with my parents, motherfuckers. I live by myself. Okay, I live by myself, bitches. But anytime you go and work when you're the younger person, okay. Anytime you enter the workforce, this is just for you kids out there, okay. You're always going to be seen as competition. Always going to be seen as competition. Another by the other ladies. A lot. Every time I started a job, especially at a hotel, nobody liked me. Okay, I had to like earn their trust and respect. Okay, it wasn't just given to me. Because I looked a certain way. I looked like somebody that didn't give a fuck, and I probably looked like a bitch. Okay, and I was young, and they probably thought I didn't have like a fucking heart. But I did. I was struggling myself. And at this first job is where I got sexually harassed by the maintenance man. What was his name? He had a title. It was engineer, some shit like that. I don't know. But he was like the head of the maintenance, okay? And this man to me was like an old man because he was like in his 40s. And remember, I was barely legal, okay? I was still a teenager. And he he um he would hit on me, and he would come into the room, and I was like, no fucking way. Hell no. And he wasn't there at first. He got moved from the Best Western from Florida. He used to live in Clearwater, and then he moved here. And he fucking he was always hitting on me. And this man had a whole wife and kids. And I was very I wasn't even 18 yet. Like I was a little girl. And I was like, oh my god, like fuck. And I needed the job. I needed my hours. I couldn't quit, because then I was gonna be homeless. So I just would be like, no, like of course I'd be like, no, 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 stop, just leave me alone. Like, I didn't know what the fuck to do. Ugh. If I could go back, I would stick up for myself because back then I didn't. And he used to like go into the room that he would check the boards like on the boards on the housekeeping cards. Like he would see it was my board. He would go. He had a master key for all the rooms. He was a maintenance guy. So he would walk in. He would close the curtains, and I would fucking run out. He never did anything, luckily, because I didn't allow it. I will say I did. I did. I didn't do anything, but I made sure nothing happened at the same time. And I could have handled it in the streets. We all know who my brother is. Okay, we could have, and I never told a soul. I never told anybody at all. But I do say this: if I could go back, I would stab a motherfucker. I would stab him. I would stab his ass or kick him in the balls, poke him in the eyes. I don't know. I would have did something instead of just running off. I should have stood firm, and said, no. But he didn't last that long, luckily. And I had even told the manager at that time. I had told her what was happening, and I said, "Could you not put me on the third floor over there?" But his name was Jesse. I forgot what his last name was. Because he's always coming into my rooms. That's what I said. I said he makes me feel uncomfortable. Once, and she fucking laughed at me. That fucking whore. I'm glad my sister sued that company later on because of that same woman, and my sister won the lawsuit for discrimination. You hear me? Okay. And that's why I fucking participated in it because that bitch fucking laughed at me when I said, "Can you not put me on third floor where his office is at?" Because there was nobody. That was like the third floor was the last um, floor to get rented. So there's barely any customers up there, anyways. And it would just be the one housekeeper because not all the rooms would be full, right? But that's where his office was at. And one time he called me. She fucking called me. She goes, "Jesse needs to see you in his office," knowing damn well what the fuck he was gonna do. I'm sorry, I'm just so angry. Right? So I'm like, I don't want to go over there. But he was like a superior, so I had to listen, right? I don't want to get in trouble. So I go to the fucking office, and this motherfucker goes and he gets my shirt, my blouse, and like pulls it up. and I fucking put my shirt down and I fucking pushed him and I fucking darted out of there. And I never paid attention to him. Well, not like I ever did, but like I was just like, nope. And then I don't know what happened. It was like something from God. Like God was protecting me because he got in trouble. Some shit happened. He got in trouble with something else, and he ended up leaving. He was only there for like 6 months. He wasn't even there that long. I don't know if maybe a coworker or somebody else reported him, but he was gone like just one fucking day. Like, because I'm pretty sure he was hitting on other people there because I wasn't like the only like pretty young one there. There was some other ones there too. So I'm pretty sure maybe they said something. I don't know, but he was just gone and I never saw him again. But if I was me back then, I would have stood up for myself and I would have fucking kicked him in the nuts. You fucking asshole. Sorry. I'm sorry. I never really told anybody. Like I never said anything because I needed the job. Like I was gonna be homeless, okay? I was gonna be homeless if I lost my job. And then what was I gonna fucking do? So then, yeah, so that was my first job. And so, anyway, so I always said, like, I would always revert back to what I love, which is the hospitality industry. Okay. And if I ever, ever, ever am able to, I would open one up because you make your money back quick. You make it back like like it's guaranteed money. Like if you ever need anything to invest in hotel and find you a good staff, reliable people, and including the housekeepers, everybody be nice to the customers because without the customers, guess what we don't have? And that would be the number one complaint from customers is the housekeepers don't talk. The housekeepers say no English when they do speak English. Okay? And that's the only thing. Like that's the only thing is everybody has to be pleasant to the that's good would be my one rule. Is everybody has to be pleasant to the customers because without them we don't have business. Do you hear me? We have no paychecks without them people. Okay. And anywhere I've ever worked, that was always their complaint is with the housekeeping staff. Okay, I got to work. I'll continue this later. Bye.